I served on the space station of Mimas as a liaison for the Earth Embassy, working with many alien races.
Jean-Charles Moyen, Franco-American SSP, aboard the Solaris spaceship, a part of the Solar Warden. My mission, protection and rescue slaves on other planets.
Rebecca Rose, Psychic Super Soldier, Moon, Mars, Kuiper Belt, and beyond.
Namaste. I'm Yana Prakash. I am a multidimensional healer, work directly with the Andromeda Council, and infinite creation through the oneness with all that it is.
We know, if you won't tell them the truth, we will. I'm James Rink, founder of the Super Soldier Talk podcast, Healing Soul Survivors, 501c3, and now, the Super Soldier Activation Conference. Join us this October 8th to 12th in Orlando, Florida, for 4 powerful days of groundbreaking discussions and personal activation. This grassroots event supports survivors of the secret space program, including those impacted by MILABs, otherwise known as military abductions, linked to MK Ultra, Monarch, and Montauk programming. By purchasing your general mission or meal passes, you directly support our nonprofit mission and help make this one-of-a-kind gathering possible. Reserve your spot now at supersoldiercon.com and stand with those who served in the shadows. Par ardua ad astra. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is James Rink, and I'm the host here. And we also have Commander Anu. How you doing today? Oh, yes, you got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, thank you. Just moving along here. I've been putting in long days trying to get the conference going here, and I've got some updates. We've received some pledges, and so the funds are coming in, and I want to say thank you for everybody who's donated. We still do need some more, so and also we would like you to attend as well the conference. So go to supersoldiercon.com, purchase a ticket, also purchase a food pass. It'll help support the venue, and we're gonna have a great time in October 8th to the 12th. So we also have Commander Anu here. So Commander Anu is going to be talking about the depths of mind control today. So her story is a fascinating one of leadership, innovation, and exploration. 2 years ago, she found herself aboard a spaceship that was actually probably more like 4 years ago, right?
Yes, it's more than 2 years now.
Yeah, over Lhasa, Tibet, where she learned her appointment as president of the Galactic Federation's Council Political Division, a prestigious body consisting of 13 members. In addition to her leadership as president, she also serves as a Galactic Federation liaison, bridging intergalactic communities and fostering collaboration. Hold on, guys, I probably need some more water. It's been very high here lately, so of course now it's about summertime, right? So we're getting closer and closer to the summer solstice here. And I usually have my fan blowing on me, but I turned it off because I think Anu is getting an echo. Are you still hearing the echo?
No, it's mostly gone now.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, so since September 2019, she has been a citizen and colonel in the New German Secret Space Program. New Germany, that is. What is that? What's the New Germany? What do you mean by as compared to Germany itself?
Well, Germany is in Europe, but the German breakaway started actually in 1936 when the Third Reich found a crashed UFO in Freiburg in Germany. And that was the beginning, in this timeline of the secret space program. But the secret space program really got off the ground during the expedition to Antarctica at the end of 1938 and the beginning of 1939. Because we moved into New Swabenland, and we've been there ever since. And due to the success of that, we then formed a base on the moon and also on Mars, and also in other off-world locations. But we've also been building bases on Earth as well. So quite a well-known one is Base 2995 in Houston, Texas. Yeah, that's one of our favourite ones.
Is that
And we
underground?
actually moved into that location to study 3 underground pyramids because, we're very much into pyramids. So, of course, we're fascinated with those ones in Antarctica too that look like mountains.
But underneath Houston, so is that like a Mayan breakaway underground where this facility is located? I'm guessing underground or outside our dimension, or how's that work?
Well, it's no, it's actually in this dimension. But do you know the area of Houston called Galveston?
Yeah, well, that's basically what southeast near on the coast
Mm. Yeah,
of the
so
Gulf
that's
of America, right?
where the base is located underground there.
How many personnel are down there?
Oh, I'm not sure of the numbers.
Well,
No, there aren't actually that many people there.
because I wonder if there's a connection with George Bush Sr., who was really high up in the. Well, I guess we didn't really have a Nazi party here in the U.S. in this timeline, but ARN, the American Reich Nazi Party, but that's another timeline.
Mm.
Anyway. Okay, so let's go back to so I learned something new today. Base underneath Galveston. Okay, so she also holds the distinction of being the program's first ever public relations and social media officer. Her creative vision led to design the Kalnax Hanabu UFO and serve as architect behind the 3 University of Atlantis campuses located at the South Pole, North Pole, and the Silver Moon in the Andromeda Galaxy. She is also an active participant in Project Midnight, a research initiative in the Andromeda Galaxy that delves into time slips, alleged time machines, ley lines, and pyramid power. So I don't know if there's any alleged time machines. There is time machines, right? I knew it's not
Oh,
alleged.
yes. I mean, time machines, as you know, are definitely real.
Okay, thank you. So that's interesting. So Um, I had a guest on the show recently. His name was Don Cooper, and he stated that the Sphere Being Alliance placed our solar system under quarantine in the mid 1980s, mid 90s, and no one's been able to leave our solar system ever since. What's your thoughts on that? Is that true?
Oh, well, no, that's not true at all. Because the thing is, yeah, there's different alternative universes and also parallel universes. And it is possible, to travel between them.
So very likely, German high command on Mars could be on a tropical timeline, alternate Mars, not this
Yes,
Mars.
yes, that's right. I mean, myself, I went to an alternative London in 1961.
What was that
And,
like?
and I hadn't even been born then, in this timeline.
So what was that like? Was that the
Oh,
German
well,
controlled?
it was great because I got to go on a Route Master bus, just like the ones that they actually had, in the 1960s. And, I got to see Leicester Square and Piccadilly Circus. And I even went for a job interview. So I got to go inside an office and see what it would have been like in the early 1960s. I was particularly interested to see what they were wearing because I've got an interest in fashion. because I'm actually an architect and a designer. So it's sort of it's a natural progression that I'd also be interested in fashion because it's connected with design.
Well, that's quite amazing. So this is the UK in our timeline, right? Isn't that like some weird?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you actually get back in time to the 1960s?
Well, they sent me back. It was in a way it was like teleporting because I'd only been there about 2 hours. And even though I knew the trip wouldn't be for long, I wanted to stay longer than that. But then they said to me, "Sorry, you're going to have to go back now, because you're needed back in London in this timeline, to go to a meeting." So of course, I wasn't able to challenge it. But unfortunately, I haven't got to go back again. But maybe the next time I'll go to a different timeline, not necessarily even in London or an alternative London. Maybe I'll get to go somewhere else. I
Well,
wouldn't mind.
if you could go back to 1960, who would you like to visit or meet?
Well, I would like to go to the nightclubs that don't exist anymore. Such as the UFO club. I mean, not because it's called UFO, but it's because of the bands that played there. Pink Floyd were one of them. But the club only lasted for 6 months. And even then, it wasn't open every day. It was only open once a week on a Friday night. So unfortunately, they had some problems, managing it as a business. So it got closed down. And there's another club called Middle Earth that was based in Covent Garden. So I would love to go there again, for the music.
I bet London was a lot more affordable back then compared to today.
Yes,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it was.
Okay. Well, anyway, so wow, that's amazing. Have you ever been to the future?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's see here. Where I've lost my spot. She volunteered to become a super soldier. So, and why would you do that? I knew. Of all the.
Well, volunteered is a bit of a word that's with a question mark because basically I was told to volunteer, meaning not volunteering at all. But to say that I was volunteering because they contacted me one day and said to me, "We'd like you to be a super soldier." And I said, "What would my role be?" And then they said to me, "Sleep deprivation." And I thought, "Oh no, that's not the right one for me. I'm not a night person." I used to be a big joke amongst my friends that I'd go to bed like between 9 o'clock and 10:30 at night, even at weekends. And the only time I'd stay up late would be like for New Year's Eve. So I was thinking, are you sure that this is the right program for me? And then I said to them, "Well, how are you going to do it? Am I even allowed to ask you?" And they said, "Yes, you can ask. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to alter your brain waves." And there's me thinking, "Oh my God, what are you going to cut open my head and perform brain surgery on me?" And they said, "Oh no, no, it's nothing like that. We're just going to do it manually at our end, like flick a switch on a machine, and then it will amend your brain patterns. And I was thinking, yeah, thank goodness for that, because I don't want brain surgery. So they did it, and then the program started the next day. So it got to my normal bedtime, and then I found that I was wide awake. And then I was either up for those 6 months, either all night and felt amazing the next day, or I'd go to bed between 2, 3 or 4 in the morning and get up early, because I've actually got a day job as well and not feel at all tired. So I'm thinking, I'm enjoying this. I'm getting so much done because, while a day, of course, has 24 hours, my days are longer because I'm awake for extra hours every day, and I was getting a huge amount done. I do things like be working all day, educate myself watching YouTube or listening to an audio book. And then at midnight, I'd be out in the garden, doing about 2 hours of gardening. And I was thinking, oh, I love this. I'm really pleased that they put me on this program. And then also they wanted me awake, also to go on missions, like to Mars, for instance. So I was doing that on top of everything else, top of having a day job, on top of writing those books, with Peyton and writing my own books.
Wow,
But
thank
unfortunately, I made some enemies out of it, including a high-ranking police officer in England, because I never met him, but I was in his Facebook groups, and then he took a dislike to me, and then he said, it's not possible for one person to do all those things. You're just delusional, like go and see a psychiatrist and get yourself sorted. And he actually unfriended me and threw me out the groups and blocked me. But I know that it's true. And anyone else in the SSP knows it is possible to do all those things. And also he said to me, it's not possible that you're in the military, for New Germany, and you used to be in the military in the British Army, because your personality doesn't suit it, because you don't respect officers. He didn't even give me a chance to reply because he'd already blocked me by then. But I was thinking, well, I don't respect officers because I am an officer myself. And as far as I'm concerned, they're just people. They're no better than anyone else. They might be an officer, and I congratulate them for achieving that rank. But when you think about it logically, they were born like everyone else. They're going to die one day. They've got to eat, they've got to drink, they've got to sleep. They've got weaknesses. They've got to go to the bathroom. So I see it in a logical way. A person's a person. So I'm not going to bow down to anyone who's high ranking in the military just because of their rank. I mean, I might like them, and a lot of them I do really like. But hopefully you can see the point that I'm making.
wow, thank you. All right. Okay, so she has risen to the rank of a colonel, and eventually she was fast tracked to the promotion of general, which she has chosen to defer until she was finished. Did you ever get finish your training? Did you ever become a general yet?
No, well, they've offered to me again, but the thing is that I've turned it down because I want to get to the stage where I don't get triggered by things that I shouldn't be triggered by. And that's actually the reason why I'm doing this talk today, because I'm talking about how easy it is for people and myself to get triggered by things. So that's why this talk is about mind control, because people probably presumed that I'd be talking about MK Ultra, because that's what everyone else is talking about when it comes to mind control. I mean, I'm very interested in the subject, but I know that mind control is also what people, as in civilians, are doing to each other. And it's not just people who are taken by governments and put into mind control, programs. See, I came about an idea of talking about this, unfortunately, because of bad situations that have happened to me. And I'm someone who likes to make something good out of something bad. And because I've had hatred towards me, I ended up using mind control in order to get out of the situation, and also for it to not affect my mental health. So the first thing that happened to me was that I did an interview, and obviously, and other people who know me know I'm not an American. And some people were making these ridiculous comments, in the chat. Oh, sorry, I can't listen to this. She's got an English accent. So I'm skipping this one. And I'm thinking, what? I mean, of course I've got an English accent. I've spent most of my time in this lifetime living in England. What accent do you expect me to have? I mean, I'm not going to have an American accent. I'm not an American. And also, I haven't developed an American accent because I don't live in America. So that made me think about people getting triggered just over nonsense. And the thing is, even if you don't like my voice, people who know me know that I'm very knowledgeable because of all my life experiences in this lifetime and all of my previous lifetimes. And I've got past life memories going back 30,000 years. So that's a long time to have gained a lot of knowledge. I mean, can you imagine it if I'd said, "Oh, I'm not going to watch Renetta Jones's interviews because she's black." I mean, of course, I didn't do that, and in the beginning, I didn't actually know who she was, and then I watched one of her interviews for the first time. It may have actually been one with you. And I was thinking, oh, wow, this person is really incredible and amazing. And then I was addicted to watching everything, that she did. But can you imagine how stupid I would have been if I'd had the attitude, oh, well, she's black, I'm not going to watch her interviews. I mean, we all know that, she's one of the most knowledgeable and entertaining and interesting people who have ever, lived on this planet. So, so that's one thing about mind control is people have what's called cognitive dissonance. And what that means is that if something or someone is outside of their comfort zone, they just can't cope. And their brain has either a minor or a major panic. And instead of thinking, oh, this isn't something I knew about, oh, well, maybe I'll learn about it. I mean, it might not be my cup of tea, but let's give it a go. But they don't do that. Instead, they get angry and aggressive, and they refuse to watch something, or or they start attacking the person who's not even getting paid to give them knowledge for free, and start making fun of them. You've probably seen people say to other people, "Oh, take your meds." And so what they're saying is, "Oh, you're not for real. You're delusional. You know, you've stopped taking your mental health medication, or if you were taking it, it stopped working, and you need to go back and see the psychiatrist." So this is why I wanted to do this talk, saying that we certainly don't say things, just to be on a show. And we don't get implants put into our body, or travel to the moon or Mars or elsewhere, or work in one of the other programs just so we can talk about it on YouTube or Rumble, or write a book about it. I mean, even if we didn't do any shows, didn't talk about it on social media, we're still doing these things. We just choose to go public, even though we know that we're going to get attacked by the non-believers, and also me and others, because we do disclose the information. The non-believers say to us, "Well, you can't be real. If you were real, you wouldn't be able to disclose it to the public, because surely you've signed non-disclosure agreements. So if you disclose, you'd get sacked, or the government would hunt you down and either, torture you or kill you." Yeah, obviously you and I haven't been killed. I mean, we're doing this show right now. So, I mean, when they say that to me, I say and think, well, okay, yeah, there's thousands of people who don't disclose the information, and they've got no intention to. But, the thing is, I also say to them, the reason I do it, because they're talking to me about it, I feel like I have to justify why I do it. It's because non-believers are going to stay non-believers. So therefore, I feel safe about talking about myself, what I do, what my colleagues do, because the non-believers aren't going to believe it anyway. So
Well, they'll
that's
tell you, so you tell them that you should get off your meds. Like most people are drinking that fluoridated water, right? So that's a fluoride
yeah,
attacks the pineal gland. It actually, it's like a chemical lobotomy. And even the
yeah,
Nazis were working on that one.
yeah,
And
yeah,
even
that's right.
and then even like most SSRIs, right? They're fluoride based, so it's actually a chemical lobotomy. And when they're telling you to go take your meds, they're telling you to lobotomize yourself, but they've been lobotomized too. So who's really off their meds? Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
Well, what about So I was thinking about the Tavistock Institute. Have you ever heard of that before?
I went there
Oh
in
wow!
November last year.
And what?
Because they've got a branch in London, and I'm in London a lot of the time. Um, I can just get the train and go there. So I went onto their mailing list, so they'd actually email me to let me know when their meetings are. And I took a day off from my day job in November last year, because it was on a weekday, and I went along there, and the talk was free as well. But even if they were charging You know, I don't think it's unreasonable to pay £10, £20. I mean, they've got to pay the speaker because she was someone who doesn't work at the institute, but she's like one of their allies. And of course, you know, they've got to pay their bills. I mean, being in London's expensive. You know, there's the rent and rates, utility bills, they've got staff to pay. So anyway, I wasn't going to complain that the talk is free. So I went along there, but of course I was going to keep quiet about who I am and why I was there. And when they weren't looking, you know, I took photos of the place, which I've still got on my phone, and I posted the photos in our Telegram group and in our Facebook group, and you know, sent them to, you know, my close friends. So you know, that was good. I mean, I would like to go back again to a talk, but I'm not sure when. But I'm not going to get to go to their place in Devon in England, because that's where they do all the nasty stuff, you know, to people. Whereas in their office in London, it's you're not going to see anything because it's just an office, you know, and also it's like a room where they have the talks that they give to the public.
Was David Icke there?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. So let's go to the a little bit more here. Okay, so her super soldier training focused on adjusting her brain waves to require minimal sleep rather than involve cloning alters. The adjustment led to dramatic changes in her life routine, including staying awake throughout the night, engaging in midnight gardening, sharing updates on social media at unusual hours, and also, okay, so her involvement in the super soldier program resulted resumed is recently. So she notes that it's never truly ended, due to, I guess, so you have insomnia now, right?
Yes, yeah, they do.
Okay. And so you're been stationed at base 211, where she works from a desk in the library as per her request. And also Peyton Cottrell, does he work with you in Antarctica? Or he or she?
He did, but unfortunately, we had a bit of a falling out today.
Today?
Yes.
Oh no.
So,
Well,
well, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen because he's very much. I don't know if you know this expression because it's an expression used in Europe. Do you know the expression a loose cannon?
yes, we're aware of that here in the U.S.
Okay.
I'm aware of a few of them
Well, he's
myself.
very much a loose cannon, and he doesn't like to do what he's told. And I mean, he's improved on the way he used to be, but we've got into a fight over Greenland, and he wanted to write a book about it, and didn't give consent for him to write the book, but he's planning on doing it anyway. And the reason he wants to write this book is because, I mean, everyone knows that President Trump is planning on having Greenland for himself. And if he manages to do that, Peyton, and well, I mean, including myself, are worried that China are going to get involved. And because of the University of Atlantis North Pole, Peyton is worried that the campus is going to get damaged if there's a war in the crossfire. So I'm actually asked him not to write this book, or if he does write the book, he can write a book about Trump and Greenland. but not to mention the University of Atlantis North Pole. But he's determined to disobey, and that's why we had this fight and falling out. And he's written more than once to the White House, asking Trump to be careful that the university doesn't get damaged, and he didn't have permission to do that.
Oh wow. Well, I've got a channeled message from Trump, right? So this was back in February. I'll pull this up here. It's pertaining to Greenland, right, in Panama. So Trump says, "No, my Trump impersonation is not that good, so I can just say, no. Let's talk about something big, huge, actually. Greenland, Canada, and Panama. These are opportunities to acquire more land that will give us an incredible military advantage." With Greenland, let me tell you, it's not about the land, it's about the people. Right now, the people of Greenland don't have the wealth or opportunities they deserve. Many are drunks and have little hope for the future. That's what he said in their current predicament. Under my leadership, we're going to fix that. We're going to give them purpose, jobs, and work, real opportunities. From a military perspective, acquiring Greenland will be a game changer for the United States. We'll expand our military presence, giving us better leverage in negotiations with nations like China and Russia. And they're trying to encroach on our military power, but under my watch, that's not going to happen. So what do you think of that? That's all I wanted to read. You agree with that?
Well, no. I mean, the reason he wants Greenland is because in order to control the Arctic and the North Pole, because the North Pole is one of the entrances to inner Earth and Agartha.
And I
And
don't know how many
you
people know this,
know,
Anu, but the opening is just due north of Greenland. Like what, about 90 miles, 150 miles north of Greenland is where you can start
yeah,
flying it
that's
going
right.
into the
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also Greenland would be a good spot, if the United States was ever attacked by China or another country, like maybe like North Korea.
I remember seeing old satellite photos of Greenland when first Google Earth first came out, and it showed like this giant rod-shaped object in the middle of the island. So according to Peter Insider, that was a weather generator. Like there's a series of these weather generators all over the planet that kick up. That's what caused like these floods. I don't know. Are you familiar with any? Does this sound familiar to you? Have you heard it, like the mud floods
I
and Noah's flood?
don't know a great deal
These
about
weather.
Greenland because
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't been there, but I've been to a lot of the countries nearby. I mean, I've been to Denmark. Denmark owned Greenland. I've been to Finland as well, and Sweden, and I've been to Iceland. But I hadn't got round to going to Greenland, even though I wanted to go.
Okay, let's go. So yes, great. So let's go back to our featured presentation, the depths of mind control. Where would you like to bring this conversation?
Well, I'd like to talk about what I've been witnessing on social media. So, I mean, I've already said that I get attacked, because of my accent. So I won't mention that again, 'cause we've already discussed that one. What I wanted to go on to next was people being triggered in a negative way by people who were different from them. So I wanted to talk about, a lot of people have probably seen that picture. There's a guy who's in his 60s and he's still working. He lives somewhere in Germany. I'm not quite sure where. I just know he lives and works in Germany. He's a white guy. He's married with 3 children, and he intentionally wears a skirt and stiletto shoes because he does it like as a protest because he's of the opinion that clothing is gender neutral. So, I saw the photo of him and all the hate that accompanied his picture wherever it was posted. They would say things like, "Oh, he's a perv. These jobs should sack him. His wife should leave him," and, comments like that, just for the way he dresses. So, I mean, okay, I know it's unusual and different, but so what? I mean, if his wife and children are okay with it, if his employer is all right with it, what's it got to do with anybody else who's never even met the guy? So that's made me think of mind control. So if an organization or even an individual wanted to mind control someone else, all they need to do, find a controversial photo of someone who really exists and post it on social media. And then the public will be like having a nervous breakdown over it and losing their temper and having cognitive dissonance. So that is one thing that I wanted to mention was so what. And I also wanted to mention now this issue regarding transgendered people, using toilets. So it hasn't only happened in the United States, where I don't live, as you know. It also happened via the Supreme Court in the UK. So it's caused unnecessary problems that didn't exist before. And the thing is, what about intersex people? Which toilet are they meant to use? Because they are neither biologically male or biological female. So people might say, well, gender neutral toilets. But the problem is, there aren't many. I mean, some places have them, a lot of places don't have them. So now they've got the problem, if they want to be inclusive, of spending a lot of money and getting a plumber to fit them. And there's also a problem if the building is a listed building, there's legal restrictions about what they can and can't do in that building, even if the staff are really open to it. And on top of that, now, I don't know if you've read this because you might not be following it, because I'm following it because, I'm really interested, is that butch looking lesbians are now being thrown out of female toilets because they look male when they're not male. And if these both Supreme Court rulings had never happened, then this mess wouldn't be going on now. So,
Well,
it's
Anu,
really,
Anu,
it's quite, yeah.
what happened in the German breakaway with the transgender issue? Do they just go ahead just have a tranny bathroom in the German breakaway colonies? How they deal with the issue? Do you remember?
Actually, I don't remember, what happened then. I remember a lot about my life as Reinhard Heydrich, but to be honest, I don't remember what the toilet issue was like.
I think there's technology to change your gender. If you want it to be a different gender, you can, right? So it's not going to
Yeah.
be an issue out there, right? But unfortunately, we're we're a slave planet, right? We're being contained and enslaved. So hopefully, we could break out of it soon, right? Okay,
Mm.
okay. Let's go to the next question. So, would you? Were you part of like any MK Ultra type programs or Monarch programs?
Well, I was actually the one doing them in the first place. Not in this lifetime. Even though I'm actually doing this talk now. The reason I say that is because when I was Reinhold Heydrich, I was head of the SD, so I was head of the feds, basically. So in the UK equivalent, I would be head of like either MI5 or MI6 or both. And I suppose in America, would be the equivalent of head of the CIA. So I was actually the one overseeing, what you would call a mind control. And, while I've got the opportunity, I do regret, all the nasty things that we did to people that seemed perfectly acceptable in those days. But in this lifetime, I don't regard it as acceptable.
Right. I mean, they were at like this brave new world, right, frontier where they could see how far you can go with this whole thing with the human consciousness, right? Because
Yeah,
it's an
yeah,
amazing thing. But the problem is like where do you stop? So um, we had someone like Mengele, right? You
yeah.
weren't Mengele, were you? Was that you?
No, no.
Okay, just just want to say. So Mengele was. So what happened? So some of these Jews in the concentration camps. All right. So during World War II, the Allied forces were bombing the rail lines, so food wasn't getting into the camps, right? So some of these Jews were like shape shifting into like this Draco like creature. They turned like these vampire Draco creatures, right? When they weren't getting enough food and started eating, they were eating each other. So Mengele was doing research on that particular genetic bloodline, right? So, and then they actually were able to isolate it. But um, so there's a. I mean, I'm not saying that's good, right? We certainly shouldn't be interning a whole generation of people, right, because of the race. But then again, and be prior to Nazi Germany, we had hyperinflation, and after World War One, the the Allied forces, right? They put restrictions on the German people, and they were pulling out money, and the Jewish people were coming in there, buying up the land, and throwing German farmers off their land, and the people were starving. Right before the
Mm.
Nazis showed up and provided a solution. We're going to fix this problem. So, yeah. The history books don't really here in the U.S. don't really go into that side of it all, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess you could say, that history is written by the victors, right? So, but war is hell. It needs to end.
Mm.
That's for sure. And the way Hitler won in the other timeline, without having to do all this war, what they did is they would promise other nations technology. They provided them assistance if you would adopt some of their belief systems, which is like the segregation of races is what they were doing. But everything actually was pretty good for most part, except the United States was split in two, right? We had the American Reich and the Japanese Empire
Yeah.
controlling the West Coast, and there was no United States. But Trump was actually the governor, and he told Hitler that there's going to be another revolution if they keep cattle prodding people in public for speaking English. So anyway, but they released all the age regression technology. So the Germans they did amazing things over there. But I think in this timeline, I think we have the greatest potential of getting it right. But the problem is we're still being enslaved, and humanity has not had a chance to be set free. But anyway, but that's why we're here, right? We're going to educating people, and we want to help you become aware. So what else should people be aware of the depths of mind control?
I actually had a thought only today, and I was hoping to, have the opportunity, if there was time to talk about it, in this show. Now, I was thinking, I mean, it might not be realistic. It's just me, like, trying to be a nice person. I was thinking that, say, that you want information from someone, and like you go to their home, or you collect them in a car and bring them to your home or to the place you're working, is it really always necessary to torture someone? Because there's this presumption that you have to torture people to get information because that's the only way to get it out of them. And my thought was maybe they would give you information if instead you were kind to them. And what I mean by that, say to them, well, I believe that you've got this information that I want, and let's strike a deal here. If you give me the information, I'm going to protect you from harm, and I'm going to pay you for it. I'm either going to pay off the mortgage on your house or your apartment, or buy that car you've always dreamed about having, or I'm gonna pay your, utility bills or your food bills, or pay for your children, to go to the best schools. What do you think? Do you think that that would actually work?
Reframe the question.
Would it actually work if you wanted information from someone and rather than torturing them, say to them, well, if you give me the information, I'm going
Right.
to look after you financially.
Well, certainly, they found that when creating a super soldier, they could use torture, and typically it was a lot faster to insert the programming, but they found great instabilities in that level of treatment. But then under Randy Kramer's Project Moonshadow, right? It was the U.S. Marine Special Section who developed a way of creating super soldier, not through torture or trauma, but they were doing genetic engineering, but they were doing positive reinforcements. It takes a lot more work, but it's a lot better super soldier, in my opinion. I think even better for the people involved too, right? They don't have to have a lifetime of symptoms of PTSD and trauma, because it's a terrible waste to let a super soldier go to waste after service. A lot of them do. A lot of them self-destruct.
Yeah, because, I get the members of the public, messaging me on like Telegram or Facebook, because they know what I do. And then they ask me the question. And if I know the answer, I just tell them. So that's why I thought, well, if you want to know the answer to a question, then, you don't have to harm each other. If I'm not able to tell them, then I'll just politely say, oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Okay, great. How about we go into some questions here? So what were the primary objectives behind Nazi Germany's mind control experiments? Maybe even those done by Dr. Bruno Weber at Auschwitz, if you know anything about that.
Well, the thing is, unfortunately, it has to be done. Because the thing is, because other countries are doing the same thing, then you have to do the same in order to keep up. And then, of course, you don't want to just keep up, you want to take over. It's like the problem with nuclear weapons. Say, for instance, that the UK or America one day decided we're not going to have them. Not just, because of the cost of having them, but because it's like unethical, which of course it is. Then it's a problem because other countries have got them. So therefore, countries that don't really want to have them have to have them. So it's the same with all of these experiments, including, MK Ultra in the United States that took place for around 20 years. Well, officially, they took place for 20 years, like from around 1953. There wasn't really an option of not doing it, especially during that period when it was the Cold War.
Right. So
So,
the ultimate goal of MK Ultra was for what? To create trauma alters? I mean, what? There's a lot of possibilities.
well, not just to do with clones and alters and mind fracturing, but also to see if a human can actually bring out their superpowers. Because there's this saying that every human, even the 3D humans, who aren't even interested in the subject and actually like having a so-called normal life, have got the ability for telepathy and remote viewing, astral projection, and all these other skills, for the reason being they've got a brain, and the brain has got a pineal gland, and their body has got a third eye. So these experiments were also to see how much of this was actually true, and also to see if the psychedelics would actually enhance these abilities too, which of course they did. But without actually trying it, you're not going to know whether it works or not.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's go to maybe the next question. So what kind of techniques are they using nowadays within the German high command, when programming super soldiers? Are they still using trauma-based mind control or something better? Hopefully.
Well, it's still going on. These programs are going on because the thing is that super soldiers are being formed all the time, and that's never going to stop. Because the thing is that there's always this belief, these super soldiers are like, wow, and and the technology is amazing. But there's always this view, well, maybe we can do something even better. So that's why it's never going to end. It's like, for instance, when someone has got £1 million or dollars, I don't mind which you want to say, in the bank. That is not enough. People aren't going to say, oh, I've got the 1 million, I'm the millionaire now, I can just relax. They're not, because human nature wants to turn that 1 million into 2 million. And then when they've got the 2 million, then they want to up it to 3 million. So therefore it never ends, because people are greedy by nature, always wanting more. So it's not only the ordinary people who want more, but in the programs, there's always this opinion, oh, we'll pat ourselves on the back, we've done fantastic, we are the best in the universe. But we're going to carry on, with these experiments, because, if we keep pushing it, one day we're going to, improve it on it even further. And then when we achieve it, it's still not enough for us. We still want to push it, even further. So it's never going to end. I mean, that's not always a bad thing. Because, some of the advances in medicine that are available to the public have been good. So, it's not all bad. Because I understand, like, that smallpox has been completely eradicated from the whole world. So surely something like that's got to be positive. And also, like in wheelchairs, I mean, everyone knows that if you can afford it, you can actually get a motorized wheelchair. So that's got to be a good thing. So technology isn't all bad. And if it was all bad, then we wouldn't have our cell phones, we wouldn't have YouTube and Facebook, we wouldn't have our laptops, we wouldn't be able to work from home. Okay, it's put our bills up. I mean, like me, I've got a cell phone, I've got broadband, so I've got to pay the bills in order to use them. But at the same time, it's worth it because I don't know everything about everything. So every day when I wake up, the first thing I do is switch on my phone and then I try and learn something new every day. So that's worth paying the money to be able to do that. And all the friends that I've made that I never would have met, if it hadn't have been for the internet. So, so therefore, these are good inventions. Yet, I know people who actually waste it. You know, they seem to forget that, say, for instance, they're on a phone contract, they're not using the phones to the best ability. And I say to them, well, you're paying the phone provider every month, yet you're not making the most of it. You got Google. If you want to learn about something, just Google it. Okay, I know that Google can be a bit of a joke sometimes because sometimes I want to look up something medical. So I Google it and then I read the website it recommends and it tells me one thing. Then I read another website and then it says the opposite. And in the end, I don't know which one to believe. So I think, oh, stuff this. Then I'll just pop along to my pharmacy and ask them instead. Because I've got a pharmacy that's just like a 5-minute walk from where I live.
Okay, thank you. Let's go. How about next question? What safeguards are in place in the modern era to prevent this type of unethical human experimentation, such as MK Ultra? I don't know what I mean. They could. We're all like sitting ducks, right? Anybody could get my lab picked up.
Yeah.
There
No,
really aren't any safeguards, are there?
it's not possible to stop it. Because say, for instance, someone, like, for instance, a member of the public actually saw someone being taken away and tried to stop it, even though they knew, how dangerous it was, what would probably happen with that person trying to stop it would get mind wiped. So they wouldn't even remember that they tried to do it or saw it happen. And then if they tried to do it again, forgetting that they'd already tried it before, then the same thing would happen again. They would just get mind wiped again.
Okay, thank you. So let's go to the next question. What do you think about brain-computer interfaces? Do you think this is something that could potentially be used for mind control, like having an implant put in your head that would be your cell phone? What do you think of that?
Well, it's already going on, isn't there? That company called Neuralink. So, so I've read that it's already happening. No, it's not something that I'm comfortable with. I can understand someone actually volunteering or even paying for the service under special circumstances. Say, for instance, that someone has been in a serious accident and they've ended up being paralyzed, like from the neck down. I think that they would be desperate enough to try anything just in case it works. But for the average person, if they would ask me for my advice before actually going ahead with it, my advice would be don't do it. Only maybe do it if you were this poor soul paralyzed from the neck downwards, where you could benefit from it.
So how could we like balance the pursuit of knowledge without like preserving human rights and all that, the ethical side of it all? Is there a balance between the two?
Well, I think the balance would be if these companies who are doing these experiments actually did an advert asking for volunteers and saying to the volunteers, if you volunteer, we would pay you to take part. Because there are already people that get paid to do medical research. I mean, this isn't anything new. It's been going on for years now. So
Okay.
that would be different because that's someone who actually wants to take part, which is certainly a lot different from someone who's forced into it.
Okay. So when do you think we'll be able to go visit the Arctic University and get some classes? It'll be open to the public.
Never, because our campuses are only for our citizens.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
you could.
sorry, what was that?
Maybe they can build a wing to help for the other people of the planet.
Well, the thing is that it would be a security risk for us because what if someone pretended to be something that they weren't? What if someone pretended that they were interested in learning, but really they were a spy, like for China or for Russia? So, they would infiltrate us and then, pass on information to the other side that we didn't want passed on because, spies are everywhere.
Can you tell us where that Arctic facility is?
Well, we've got three campuses. One is actually at the North Pole. One is
But the North Pole is like ice, isn't it? It's the ocean on the North
yeah,
Pole.
yeah, that's right. It's not on solid ground.
Okay.
Whereas the other one, our first one, is at the South Pole. Actually, do you know that there's an actual pole that's been put there by humans that's like a big stick with a sign saying, South Pole. So our university is actually near to where that pole is, that actually says basically, oh, this is the South Pole. And then the other campus we've got is actually on Silver Moon in the Andromeda Galaxy.
Can you tell us how many planets you think are in the breakaway? Any idea?
I wouldn't know the numbers because it's more complicated than it sounds. And for the reason for that is there's not just the planets and the moons where we've got our bases, but in the universe, as in the Milky Way galaxy. But there's also the ones in the alternative galaxies and the parallel universes.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So, as I think Tomas said, there was like 160 colonies in the breakaway. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see here. Any other questions? how does she discern the difference between energies and this spiritual war?
Well, when you say energies, which sort of energies are you talking about? Because everything is energy. I mean, like, I'm sitting on my sofa right now, and my sofa is made up of atoms, and atoms are energy. And the table in front of me, where I've got my bottle of water and, my other drink, the table is made up of atoms. My thoughts and when I speak is energy. My physical body, as in my material body, the one that was born and the one that's going to die one day, is energy. So it depends how you define. When I'm listening to music, which I do frequently because I love all different genres of music, the music is playing at a frequency, which is an energy. So really, everything, I mean, the sun in the sky is energy. All the planets and the moons and the stars are energy. So it depends how you want to define energy, because energy is everything. But regarding spiritual war, I used to feel positive about the subject, but now, particularly in the past year, as in an Earth year, I feel negative about it because I'll tell you why. Because I was hoping that by now, or in the very near future, that all humans, or nearly all humans, would reach 5D. But now I'm like 100% sure that they definitely won't, because the human race and their thinking and behaviours have gone way back, even in the past few months. So, their behaviours and thoughts now are not even what I'd regard as 3D. I mean, they're more like 2D. So, these starseeds who say, that they're here to raise human consciousness to 5D, well, I'm not saying that they're liars, because that was their intention, to come to Earth to do that. And while they're trying to do that, I think that it's a lost cause, because, the human race has gone way back down the scale just in the past few months alone. So, I think really that is the spiritual war.
Well, do you think the Germans will show themselves to the public and say, "Here we are. We're here to help you. Here's some food."
No,
Maybe
we're
not
not
that.
here to help the public.
I mean,
I
maybe
mean,
if there was like a nuclear war, right? And then finally, you guys are going to show up and help whatever few thousand survivors are left and feed them, probably.
Hmm.
Well, that's what we're not
Yeah,
going to have a
I'm
nuclear war,
pleased.
right?
Well, actually, I'm pleased you mentioned this thing about helping humans, because it just reminded me of something else. Because I'm in this Facebook group that actually you're in too. I mean, you might not read the post, but I know for sure that you're in the group. It's a time travel research group. I mean, the people who are the admins are actually really nice, but you've got some pretty, sorry to say, backward people in the group. And there's a guy who was in it. He's probably still in it, but he blocked me about a year ago. Uh, Maybe someone else can tell me if he's still in the group and still posting. I mean, I feel sorry for him, but basically he's a nasty piece of work, and he took it out on me. So he's a Greek guy, and he lives somewhere in Greece. He's got good English, so I congratulate him on that. So anyway, what his situation is that he was very close to his mother, and unfortunately his mother got cancer, and the hospital who were meant to be treating her messed up, and she died due to their negligence. So obviously he has a right to be very angry and heartbroken because, his mum was like the most important thing in his life. So anyway, he got it into his head that he would join the time travel groups on Facebook and post in the groups that he wants to time travel to save his mum. So anyway, I started replying to say, well, unfortunately, you won't be able to do this. And then he starts private messaging me, asking for my help. And there's me saying that I'm not able to help him because we know we don't help civilians. So he starts, getting nasty with me. And in the end, he ended up blocking me. So that's why I'm pleased why you mentioned about helping, ordinary people, because it's reminded me to tell, the audience about this guy. And also one thing he does, one day he was posting, please help me and my mum. And then the next day he'd say, you're all a bunch of liars. Time travel isn't real. And those who say it is are lying. And then the next day he would post back again, oh, please, can you time travel guys help me and my mum? And he was like doing that with me. 1 minute he was asking for my help. The next minute, another day, he'd be calling me a liar and calling all of us liars. And then another day, he'd be asking for my help again. So I bet he's still doing that every day. I mean, he wouldn't be able to behave like that in any of my groups on Facebook or Telegram. I would have kicked him out a long time ago, even though I'm sorry about what happened to his mum. He'd really need to man up. He's, just like the rest of us who've been through bereavements. Okay, it's awful, but really, it's part of life. We just have to be adult about it and, just get on with our lives.
Thank you. Do you think there's any actual real time travelers in that group?
Yeah, you. Yeah, I think there's a
What?
few others of us in the SSP that probably just are in the group just to read the post and feel sorry for the people or laugh at them behind their backs. How ridiculous they behave and fight, with each other.
Oh wow. Okay. Thank you for sharing. That's pretty amazing. So we had John Titor. He showed up in one of those time travel message boards years ago, and then there was another one called Alexander Time Traveler, and they're all supposedly from Temple Recon, and then I think there was another one too. So basically, the version of future that they were presenting was one that wasn't that good. So I'm hoping we change that, but I guess we'll find out because according to I think Jimmy Payne, he said the John Titor, his other name they went by was John Connor. So the actual D-Day was around either 2020, the end of August 29, 2027, or August 29, 2029. But nobody really knows because the records just went. There wasn't much left of humanity when that happened. So but yeah, so I think the future is going to be changed, right? Time travelers have come. I mean, even Andrew Basaggio, he says he's been 2035, and he went to some industrial office park somewhere, and it was a pretty nice place. People were like little one of those Segway scooters, it was pretty popular in the future. Anyway,
Mm.
Okay, I like that version of future. So okay, great. I think anybody have any? Somebody says, can you please explain insomnia and how she copes? And she's already explained the cause, right? You were programmed, right?
Yeah, no, I cope extremely well with it. So, while I'm awake, I make the most of the time. So, weather permitting, I might do a couple of hours of gardening, and also, I'm educating myself. Listening to other people's shows on YouTube or Rumble, or I might be listening to an audio book. So, I don't ever waste it because, unlike most people, I don't watch TV. And people who do might spend several hours a day, watching it.
Right. There's
And
certainly a lot of
because
programming.
I'm not doing activities that so-called normal people do, that gives me more time to do abnormal things that I enjoy doing that are beneficial to, my belief system or my lifestyle.
Wow, thank you. Okay, great. Thank you, Ronnie, for all the help you've helped. Send me a message. I'll send you a free ticket to the conference. And by the way, if you want to come, you have a free ticket. I can also even hook you up with a free live stream ticket. I know it's kind of maybe a little off the beaten trail to come to Orlando this year, but audience members, if you would like to join us at the conference, and we're still looking for more volunteers. We need people who help with flyering. You can also help me out my intergroup. If you have any marketing skills, we need you. If you can help us out just with some finding vendors and so on, we will just send me a message. The email that I'd like you to send a message to, I'm going to post it right here in the chat. And then what we're going to do is send me an email, and even if like you just want to you don't want to do all that work, you just want to show up the day of the week of the conference and help us out, that's great too. We still have a few more spots available. We're also looking for people who can sponsor us. So a sponsorship package may include a speaking spot if you want to come, but we have different packages and so on. And also, if you would like to help donate to my nonprofit, Healing Soul Survivors, 501c3, which is sponsoring this, you can go to, thank you, Ronnie, for this. You can donate to my 501c3 at healingsoulsurvivors.org, and your donations will be greatly appreciated, and we certainly will need them. So thank you, everybody that has donated. I really appreciate all of you, and it's really helped out with the cost, because this software costs money. Everywhere you look, it costs money right now. So hopefully, maybe once we get our free energy, we can get off that system, right? Go to supersoldiercon.com, buy a ticket, get yourself a food package, and support the venue. Also, let's see here. I want you to go to my other website, Neological Tech. Purchase a copy of my book. It's 400 pages long. I go all into the secret space program and some of my own SSP experiences. And here's one. This took place back in 2005, and I showed up in the newspaper. And the next day, these grays started abducting me. Anyway, but you can also buy a meditation device. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff I'm supposed to tell you. I think you're supposed to be buying some Lifeway patches too. Right? It's great product. I'm gonna play a video. So anyway, that's my spiel right now. New. Any final messages? Maybe you got some social media you'd like to share, or anything, future projects.
Well, actually, I've got a message for you, but I mean, I don't mind doing this publicly. It's not something that I don't want to share with everyone. So while I've got your attention, I'll mention it now. It's regarding your conference, because something you might not thought about doing, which is a good idea if you're willing, and it also will generate more income for people who are unable to attend but are interested in the subject. Have you thought about also providing a ticket for people, like, say, for instance, other countries who want to attend either some days or the whole thing online? like via Zoom or something like that.
Yes, we have a
What do you
live.
think about that?
Yeah, I have a live stream pass. I think they're like 150 or 130. I don't know. But we've got discounts too. If you're a SSP or a veteran, any law enforcement, we all support you. Go to Super Soldier Con, look for the coupon code section, and we can hook you up. So we all want you all to attend because it's going to be a great event. And this is for you, the Super Soldier community. Also, even if you're not a Super Soldier, you're a supporter of or a secret space program veteran, come on out. We're gonna have a great time, and maybe German command could do a little flyover. I don't know, or solar warden, one of the sides of the pond, right? And then we're gonna have a great time. Thank you. Okay, so future projects.
I'm not quite sure what's happening next.
Okay, so all right, we salute you, Anu. We salute you, also audience members. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all later. Goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful day wherever you may be in the world or the galaxy, the universe, or the timelines, right? See you all later, and stay tuned for this message from X39 LifeWave. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into something really exciting, the LifeWave X39 patch. To help us understand how this works, we have LifeWave brand partner Arthur Gross here. Thanks for joining us, Arthur.
Thanks for having me, James. I'm excited to talk about this revolutionary technology.
So, I've been hearing a lot about this X39 patch. Can you explain a little bit more on how it works?
Absolutely. The X39 patch is groundbreaking because it uses phototherapy, specifically photobiomodulation, to activate your body's natural GHK copper peptide levels. This, in turn, reactivates your stem cells, which helps reset over 4,000 genes to how they worked when you were younger. Think back to your 20s.
Wow, all that just from wearing an X39 patch.
Exactly. The patch uses a patented, non-invasive nanocrystal technology that reflects specific wavelengths of light from your body's infrared light. When it touches your skin, it stimulates biochemical changes that trigger the production of peptides and amino acids. This increases
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into something really exciting, the LifeWave X39 patch. To help us understand how this works, we have LifeWave brand partner Arthur Gross here. Thanks for joining us, Arthur.
Thanks for having me, James. I'm excited to talk about this revolutionary technology.
So, I've been hearing a lot about this X39 patch. Can you explain a little bit more on how it works?
Absolutely. The X39 patch is groundbreaking because it uses phototherapy, specifically photobiomodulation, to activate your body's natural GHK copper peptide levels. This, in turn, reactivates your stem cells, which helps reset over 4,000 genes to how they worked when you were younger. Think back to your 20s.
Wow, all that just from wearing an X39 patch.
Exactly. The patch uses a patented, non-invasive nanocrystal technology that reflects specific wavelengths of light from your body's infrared light. When it touches your skin, it stimulates biochemical changes that trigger the production of peptides and amino acids. This increases mitochondrial energy, boosts healthy stem cell activity, and helps with overall cellular repair.
Wow, that sounds incredible. But a lot of people might be wondering how safe they are.
The X39 patch is completely safe. It's been clinically proven and is recognized by the FDA as a general wellness product. Plus, it's non-transdermal and non-invasive, meaning nothing actually enters your body, and there are no chemicals involved.
Wow, so we have no topical creams, injections, or anything like that.
Exactly. It's as easy as wearing a small patch, and it's also waterproof and showerproof, so you can wear it throughout the day without worry.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I've read a lot about various expensive stem cell therapies. How would the X39 compare to some of these other type of options?
Traditional stem cell therapies can cost thousands of dollars, but the X39 patch offers a much more affordable solution. It's designed to work naturally with your body and is available at a fraction of the cost while still being 96% effective on activating your body's stem cells.
I can see why so many people are excited about this. So, if someone is interested in trying the X39 patch, what can they expect from wearing the patch?
Most people notice an increase in energy, faster recovery from physical activities, and even improvements in overall health and wellness. It really helps to revitalize your body by supporting stem cell production and resetting your genes.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Where can people learn more and try the X39 patch?
If they click the link below the description, it'll take you to James Rink's LifeWave website, which helps you get started. It's such an easy and effective way to tap into your body.
Will be a landmark event in the cosmos. Sabertooth. Sabertooth. We place our trust in you. Sabertooth. Life is no good without friends. For the world to know, we gotta let it show. Service to others, service to self. Come on.
Goodbye, everybody.